Hello and welcome to Cage Cat. And yeah, I know you can see my bedroom for once because today I'm actually making a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition buyer's guide. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I even mentioned I wanted to do this at the beginning of, at the end of season 4. And I mentioned it in the last 2 videos I want to do, and soon, so that's what we're doing. Anyway, I'm going to be kind of covering all the major stuff you need to play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, as well as all the rulebooks that I have. Anyway. I might be missing some stuff, so either tell me in the comments below, or they may have not come out yet. Also, I don't like to buy in the pre-made campaigns, as you can easily make your own with other D&D tools like the Dungeon Master's Guide. So, yeah, those will not be included in this, besides the ones on the starter set and essentials kit. Anyway. So first off, if you started getting the D&D, one of the two best things to do to get a starter set are the essentials kit. I'll talk about the essentials kit first. Sorry, my starter set is so beat up. The essentials kit comes with dice, a DM screen, a campaign, and a basic rulebook with some that actually allows you to make characters. Compare that to this, which comes with dice, a campaign, and pre-made characters. So pre-mades are pretty nice because you don't have to make a character, but then again, you can't really level them up or do anything with them. Well, on this, you can level them up, and they're not pre-made. So either make your own characters. So both of them have a good idea that way. I prefer making my own characters. But the essentials kit also comes with more stuff, like I mentioned. It also comes with like sidekicks, which are a thing that weren't introduced in that, and they actually get put into a core rulebook. So yeah, I'll talk about that later. Now, I'm going to talk about some other smaller things before I go into the core rulebooks. You might want one of these to hold character sheets. Mine's really beat up because I've had mine for a long time. You might want a dice or a dice bag. My dice are in this bag. If you're playing what's it called, a D&D game, but you're using like a board and stuff, that you might want to get minis. Some of them might are painted, and you also want to get like maybe a board. Like these boards literally have hexagons on the other side, so these are really good for making maps and stuff too, for one-time maps, and they're dry erase, which makes it cool. Now I'm going to go on to the core rulebooks. You're going to need the core rulebooks to start playing the game. The first one I would recommend getting is Player's Handbook, and by the way, you don't need a starter set or essentials kit to start playing the game. All you need is the Player's Handbook and some dice. Starter set and essentials kit are nice to start playing, but the Player's Handbook has the character rules for the basic character options from level 1 to 20, and so yeah. Anyway, the essentials kit only has level 1 to 6, and the starter set only has the base pre-mades only go up to level 5, so yeah. The monster manual has all the stats for all the monsters that you can, the most basic monsters that are in the game. Like what I mean is like there's some really weird stuff in the monster manual, but other rule books have even weirder stuff. And Dungeon Master's Guide kind of teaches you how to make your own campaign and run it. So there's two roles in Dungeons & Dragons, the players and the Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Master is the one who runs the world. It's kind of like the computer player, sort of, in the video game. And the player are the main characters. Both of them work together to tell a story. That's kind of the whole point of Dungeons & Dragons. Also, some other terms like race, which is I'm going to launch a Wayfarer, which does not mean like the normal way. I'm referring to more of like different like species, like elf or a dwarf is what I'm referring to, like race. So yeah, for later going on, it's kind of like D&D race. They call it, when they mean by races is more like different species. So we have sentient magical creatures. So yeah, most of them are humanoid. Some books mess with that. Anyways, the next thing is I would recommend getting either starter set or essentials kit to get, or I recommend getting starter set, essentials kit, or Player's Handbook to get into the game. And then once you have that, you'll get the Player's Handbook if you didn't already get it, Monster Manual and Dungeon Master's Guide. I recommend getting Player's Handbook first, and then Dungeon Master's Guide and Monster Manual at the same time, because both those books reference each other, and though the Player's Handbook is doesn't really reference other books too much. Well, it does do reference them, but I recommend getting all three of these books at once. You can get them bundled, I think, But yeah, anyway. Now let's go on to supplementaries. These four. I'm going to talk about Xanafers first. Xanafers tends to add new classes. Not classes, but subclasses and spells and magic items. Well, Tasha's I feel like is more of more up to kind of like upgrade to Xanafers. So I recommend getting Xanafers first because Tasha's references that book occasionally, but not too often. So I would say you can get either of these books in whatever order you want. They just, I would recommend getting Xanafers first because it's also a little bit older, but yeah. It's a little bit old. But Tasha's has new optional rules, basically everything Xanafers has, but adds a new class, which is actually a reprint from another book, but I recommend getting this book before you get the other. It's hard to explain, but basically, this book's very similar to Xanafers, but has a little bit more cool stuff in it. But both of them are pretty good. On the other side, you have Volo's Guide to the Monsters, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. I recommend getting Volo's first, because Mordenkainen's actually says that you're supposed to get Volo's first in the core rulebooks. Both of these talk about the lore monsters, give you new monsters, and give you new races to play as. Well, Volo, and even some sub-races for things like tieflings and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go on to the sub-campaign source books. These are not campaigns, but they're campaign settings, but they're not a pre-published campaign. Instead, they're a campaign setting that gives you character options and rules for like running a campaign in a certain setting. Well, they're not actually a campaign book. I'm gonna start with Sword Quest Adventures Guide, which is the first actual supplementary that released, but it's kind of like a campaign source book now, sort of. It's about like the Sword Coast or the Forgotten Realms, the main D&D setting. Pretty basic. There's a few character options, but they're pretty limited. I don't like this book too much. I mean, it's not the worst book, but like, it's just, it feels a little bit, it's outdated because it's 5th edition, but it's like the first supplementary they made, and you know, it's not the best, but like a lot of games are in the Sword Coast are in the Forgotten Realms setting, so that's probably a good book to get if you're playing a lot of games like that. But if you're playing like homebrew setting and stuff, this might not, or like a different setting, this might not be the bestest book to get. And then Eberron. Eberron is another D&D setting. The thing about Eberron, however, is it's more like a magical technology sort of thing. So you have technology and magic sort of in this world. Like guns exist in this campaign setting. The thing about Eberron that's good is that you get new races. You get the new class, the Artificer, which got reprinted in that book. You know. Anyway, yeah, Eberron is a pretty good book. It's actually probably, I just got it, so I don't know I haven't fully gotten to read the whole thing yet. And yeah, I can tell I just got it because it's still the Target sticker on it. And others, of course, the Vex-free books are based off like like franchises that aren't owned by Wizards of the Coast, people that make dungeons, they're kind of done with Wizards of the Coast sort of stuff. Like they're not mainly D&D. Explorer's Guide, the Willow Mountain is based off like another YouTubers group. But the reason why I recommend getting this because there's a lot of the same races as Volo's Guide, but also there's tons of new races, and so it's very similar to Volo's Guide in what it adds, but there's some differences. And just so you know, some of these rulebooks actually do have updated versions. Like over time they'll update them. Like my Volo's Guide, the monster is a little bit outdated because things like kobolds have a negative stat, and they removed that from kobolds, and also orcs. But yeah, this book is also really good if you want new character options too. You know. Then you have these other two settings, which are based on Magic the Gathering settings. You first have Mufkazi's Pharaohs, which is actually the newer one, but it adds a few new races and 2 new subclasses, which actually got reprinted in Tasha's, just like the new subclasses in that book I'll mention later. But it's kind of like the setting itself is more of like a, you know, ancient like Greece sort of, or Rome setting sort of thing. So if you're into that sort of stuff, this might be something to pick out. And then Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, which is, you can ignore my DM notes and stuff, which is actually like based on another Magic the Gathering. It's another Magic the Gathering setting book, but it's basically what it is it's a campaign setting, and basically in the city we have cool mutant dudes you can play as well, and yeah. There's also magic. It's basically both magic and technology. It's kind of like Eberron, but in a different sort of fashion. Where Eberron's focused a little bit more on technology. Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica focus a little bit more on magic, but they're pretty good. If you have those books, you can really make a technology magic like mixed setting. If you have both those books, because you can get some really cool options. Now I'm gonna kind of tell you like my order I will buy stuff, like I kind of mentioned before. Either when you get in the game, starter set. Now, besides like this stuff and that, because you can kind of buy those at any time. They're kind of like depending on what group you're in. They're like, you would need you need dice to play the game, but like some groups allow you to borrow dice, and the starter set instead just come with dice. Besides the starter set not missing a percentage dice. But yeah, Essentials kit is probably my best option if you were to start playing D&D, or you can buy the starter set, but I don't like the starter set as much. I prefer the Essentials kit. It's not like I damaged my starter set on purpose. It's been in that giant bag where I carry all my stuff for such a long time that like it's, you know, just what did I explain it? Like it's gotten crushed with these books being put onto the weight of those books being put onto it, so that's why it's damaged. My copy version, and I use this so often, it's breaking, ripping, but. My honest recommendation of what you should buy is you're gonna know that. I mean, you can buy the starter set whenever you want, but I don't really recommend it for your starting thing. I recommend if you got in the game, Player's Handbook and Essentials Kit. Essentials Kit will have a pre-made campaign, a DM screen, and dice for you. While the starter set will have the basic starting rules of the game. You know, basic all the more character options. So these two will go really well together as the first like you just got in the D&D. And then maybe the next second thing you should buy is, I recommend Dungeon Master Guide and Monster Manual at the same time, or even at the same time as Player's Handbook. So you can either buy those three books and like the dice, or you can buy Essentials Kit and Player's Handbook, and then those 2 books later on. Depends on, you can buy them like almost any order. Just starting out is kind of harder, but then I would recommend getting the 4 campaign major supplementaries that allow almost every game. You know, I would recommend any order you want between these 4. I recommend you're getting Xanathar's and Volo's Guide, and then Tasha's. If you get Volo's Guide, then Vorincane's. If you got Xanathar's, then Tasha's. But I reckon you can buy them like any order. It won't be as confusing. But all 4 of them together, well, you know. But I mean, you don't have to buy them all together. Like these are like things you can buy one off, and then once you get all 4 of these, I would recommend buying the campaign source books. It's just if you want a few more character options. Like if these 4 books didn't give you enough character options, you just really want more, or you want to use a pre-made campaign, or like, you know, allow some more homebrew game, then I'll go up to those 5. And those would be the last 5 I would recommend getting. And then after you get those, I would recommend you could maybe buy your own campaigns, like pre-made campaigns, or just make your own campaign, because Dungeon Master's Guide is really easy rules to make a campaign. Well, it's something that's confusing. You can also look at YouTube videos. So yeah. And also another thing I recommend, maybe some sort of way to carry them, like this giant bag I have that's like at least 40 pounds when I have all my books in it, because you know that many books. But yeah, this is the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe to Cage Cat on YouTube. And I know this video is not like a normal video I make on my channel. It's just meant to be a, you know, something I've been wanting to record for a while. I know it's not with normal content, but I kind of want to spice my content up. I'm sorry if it's not like Roblox like you normally want, but yeah. And it was a low quality video because I'm recording on my iPad camera. And this is the end of the video. Remember to like, subscribe to the Cage Cat on YouTube, and peace. Also, like, over 80% of people who view my channel are, like, not even subscribed, so I'm feeling kind of sad that I'm only at 150, and I have no people that are actually at, like, over 1,000. It's making me kind of sad. I wish I could get more subscribers over time, you know, and not, like, just, like, people watch, and also, my people will only watch my videos for, like, 10 seconds, and then leave and go to another video. I don't know why that is. So, I mean, it's getting kind of hard to be on YouTube. I mean, like, only getting like 2 subscribers in a month. It doesn't, like, it makes me feel like I just kind of want to, like, quit. And so that's one of the reasons why I haven't made videos for a while, and also what happened in the evolution of a Discord server. But yeah, and peace.